Today, I want to talk about three things that have really helped me to change my perspective about how life changes and grows and the value of actually succeeding later in life. So, the first thing that has really helped me is to start to define success in more dimensions than just one. And a great model for this is Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'm sure you've seen it at some point in your life, the famous pyramid of needs. At the very base, you have survival needs, like basically, food, water, shelter. And then above that, you have security and certainty, whether it's financial security and safety and certainty. Then above that, you have community and connection and love. And then above that, you have self-esteem. And then at the very top, we have self-actualization, which is the one I usually talk a lot about. But all of those levels have different dimensions, and they're all very important in our lives. And I think what I've learned is that if you define success in different dimensions, it looks very different. So let me explain. If you just look at your life as, well, I'm not famous, all right, that would be an esteem need. I'm not popular. I'm not recognized by people. Then, okay, maybe you are a failure. Maybe you haven't succeeded as much as you would have liked. But if you think in terms of, do I have a roof over my head? Do I have food to eat? Do I have a safe place to sleep? If you do, yes, then you've succeeded at the very base level of survival. You are actually a success. If you go up a couple of levels, do you have a community? Do you have connection? Do you have certainty? Do you have, income coming in regularly? You can look at the different dimensions of your life and realize, hey, I actually have success already in the most important things. Because if you didn't have those base levels of the pyramid that Maslow talks about taken care of, you wouldn't care about anything else. Generally speaking, when we beat ourselves up about not succeeding in life by a certain age, it usually has to do with things like esteem or status or recognition or success in the current terms, whether it is making a certain amount of money or having a certain amount of followers or status or whatever. It's usually the higher level needs that we're beating ourselves up about. And it's the base level needs that we've forgotten that we already have. So the first thing that I've learned here, and the value of being a late bloomer, is to look at all the different dimensions of success that you have in your life and really embrace those and be grateful for them. Actually realize, hey, you know what? I have these things working for me and it's amazing. I have safety. I have certainty. I have community. I have love and connection and relationships. I have self-esteem, all those things. And I know that not all of us have them. Right? So you have to build these one at a time, but you really have to realize that you have this ability to, quantify your life in different ways if you want to, and to value things differently. So that's the first one, is to define success in more dimensions than just financial success or status or self-esteem. Next thing is to think about embracing the apprenticeship stage of life. And this one, I want to give credit to Robert Greene, who wrote Mastery, which is one of my favorite books, or I would say ever, actually. Robert Greene, some of you know him, 48 Laws of Power, Art of Seduction, the Laws of Human Nature. Well, this one, Mastery, sometimes flies under the radar a bit, but I personally think that it's one of the best books that he's written. In this book, he talks about embracing the apprenticeship stage of life. For many generations, for millennia, if you like, there was this kind of cultural part of life where we all served an apprenticeship. We learned a trade, we learned a craft, we learned to become skilled in our lives by being an apprentice. And over the past, I would say 20 to 30 years, I think this mindset has started to erode in our culture. And so we've started to think of ourselves as, I'm not there yet. Well, of course you're not there yet, because you're still in your apprenticeship phase. You're still learning. You're still growing. It used to be that you would spend 5, 10, 15 years really developing and honing a craft under someone else. And you were expected not to be great at it. You were expected not to have success because you were in the apprenticeship stage. In the trades and in sort of blue collar professions, this is more common still today, where you apprentice under someone and then you become a journeyman and eventually a master. But in the kind of, knowledge work world, this isn't as common. And so we have to really realize that there is a stage of our lives, if we want to succeed in any way, we have to apprentice. We have to actually learn from other people. We have to absorb their knowledge and make mistakes and get feedback and realize that we're not going to be as good as we hoped in the early stages of it. And it might take us 5, 10 years realistically to be able to succeed at a higher level. That old cliche now, which is the 10,000 hour rule, which comes from Malcolm Gladwell, I really think that is a good example, or another way of talking about this idea of the apprenticeship phase. During the 10,000 hours period is when you're apprenticing, you're learning from other people, and you're developing. And again, because the media and society doesn't tend to value or to show the apprenticeship phase of most people, we tend to just see the outliers who succeed very quickly in the world. And we ignore all the millions of people, you and I included, who are apprenticing in our lives and becoming better day by day incrementally. So embrace the apprenticeship stage if you're in it in your life. I did this a lot when I was learning to become a speaker, for example, and also a writer. And even with my YouTube channel, I sort of saw myself as an emerging or an apprentice in all these categories and learning it piece by piece. And I still am to this day, and I probably will be my whole life. But if I see myself as not having succeeded, not having reached it or made it or whatever, that's going to make me feel bad. But if I see myself as apprenticing and learning from others, that gives me a lot more confidence to keep growing and developing myself. So embrace the apprenticeship stage, no matter what age you might be. And the third thing that I have learned about the value of being a late bloomer is that we must value what is difficult. Not what is shiny or, impressive or other people seem to value, but embrace and value what is difficult in our lives. If you think personally about yourself, the things that you have done amazingly well in your life, probably there was a phase or a stage where it was incredibly difficult, and that is the reason that you value them. If you have a great relationship in your life today, it's probably because you had some pretty shitty relationships in the past and you had to go through difficult phases, and now you value what you have. If you are in good physical shape, it's a difficult process to push yourself and to keep having that discipline, to keep developing and improving. Same with any knowledge base or any communication skills, finances, whatever. It takes difficulty to actually succeed over the long term. And that is what we should value, is the difficulty that we had to go through to actually have the success. I think thinking of it this way tends to flip the script a little bit, because the trap is thinking that it's the success, that the achievement, the accomplishment, the getting of something that is what we value. But actually, it's the difficulty that we actually value. That's the thing that made the value, if you think about it, in whatever we achieved in the end. So I would say value what is difficult in your life, lean into it more, and realize whatever you do have right now, you got it because it was difficult, because you had to grow and develop as a person. The more I've framed this in my life, the easier it's made my setbacks and failures and frustrations, because I've realized, hey, this is difficult and that's valuable. It's actually teaching me skills. It's giving me experience. It's building my character. And those are the most important things at the end of the day. So that's the third idea, is to value what is difficult in your life and realize that that actually is what's important. And that's what makes life much richer when you lean into it. I have one more idea that I want to share with you to finish today. And this is something that I mentioned in a couple of episodes ago that I learned from Earl Nightingale. And he talks about the idea that success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. And the idea there is that if we are on the path of realizing what we want in our lives, then we are already a success. If we are in the process of growing and developing and improving ourselves towards a greater version of who we want to be, we are already a success, because the success is in the progressive realization, not in the attainment. This is a great mindset to help you to flip how you're thinking and feeling about your life stage and where you are. If you are a late bloomer, that's totally okay, because you're still on the path. And honestly, it doesn't matter how long it takes to get to where you want to go. The value is actually in the progressive realization and the development. That's what makes life so much richer. So if you remember nothing else about the value of becoming a late bloomer, remember that idea that success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal, and that you are successful as long as you stay on the path to becoming what you want to be.